I'm really hoping this works because I haven't used this before. It's like the first pancake, you know?
The first pancake? Yeah, is the first pancake never good for you?
Yeah, the first pancake is never good.
Dude, the first pancake sucks.
Yeah. Hey, it's Nia. I'm back with another recipe drop, and today I'm going to be making a Mother's Day breakfast or brunch recipe, and it's a waffle cake with rhubarb compote, freshly whipped cream, strawberries, a little mint, and a little powdered sugar. But this recipe, I actually use a Swedish waffle batter. It's a bit thinner than your typical American waffle batter. And I also use a Swedish waffle iron. And the thing I love about these waffle irons is that they come in little heart shapes and they're super cute. So let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna make our rhubarb compote. I have about a little over 250 grams rhubarb. It's about 1 large stalk and 2/3 of a large stalk. So I'm just gonna cut these into 1/2-inch pieces or something. I'm actually gonna cut them in half lengthwise first. This is actually exceptionally good rhubarb because it has a really, really nice kind of like pinkish red color. I feel like a lot of the times when I buy rhubarb at the store, it ends up being like half green. Rhubarb has a pretty tart and like sour flavor, and I personally really, really like rhubarb. I love anything tart, anything sour, and I feel like it's really nice in dessert recipes that are a bit sweeter. Growing up, my siblings and I actually used to eat rhubarb as a snack. I thought this was normal until I told my coworkers, and they were like, huh? But we had rhubarb plants growing up in our backyard, and so my mom would hand us a stalk of rhubarb and a little glass of sugar, and we would just like dip the rhubarb in the sugar and eat it. It was delicious. This is a really small piece, but I literally just dip it in. So good. It reminds me of just like sitting in my backyard as a little kid, munching on rhubarb and sugar. Okay, so we have our rhubarb. We're just gonna add it to a medium saucepan. So I'm just adding 1 tablespoon of water. You could also substitute the water for lemon juice instead if you want a little bit more acidity. That's really, really nice. And then I have 1/4 of a cup of granulated white sugar. I honestly prefer to use fresh ginger in my rhubarb compote, but I only have ground ginger, so I'm gonna do about 1/4 of a teaspoon. I find the ginger just complements the rhubarb really well, and it also complements the cardamom, which we're also gonna add. So these are whole cardamom seeds. I only want about 1/2 teaspoon of ground cardamom in there, so that means I'm gonna use 1/4 teaspoon of the whole cardamom.
Wait, so what's the conversion on that again? How did that?
So if you're using ground cardamom, then use 1/2 teaspoon, but if you only have whole cardamom seeds like I do, then use half of that, so 1/4 teaspoon. So I'm just using a mortar and pestle. I'm gonna ground it into very small pieces. So I'm not even gonna measure this because even if it's a little under or a little over 1/2 teaspoon, it doesn't really matter. Cardamom is so good. Can't really have too much. I mean, you can, but just a little bit isn't gonna make that big of a difference. And then I'm also gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt just to, again, help balance out all the flavors. I am obsessed with vanilla. I love using vanilla in pretty much any baking recipes. I would prefer a vanilla bean paste in a compote recipe like this just to get the vanilla beans, but we're gonna use a little extract today instead. I'm not even gonna measure. I'm just gonna like do a little drop. With vanilla, I also don't think you have to be that like precious. So I just put it over like medium heat, and this is just gonna simmer until the rhubarb has completely broken down and is super softened. So the reason why I only added 1 tablespoon of water is because the rhubarb has liquid in it and it's gonna release that moisture as it cooks. So this is gonna sit for about 10 minutes. Stir it occasionally. You don't have to be like looking at it all the time and stirring constantly. But while it cooks, I'm gonna start on the waffle batter. So I'm gonna use a big bowl. You're also gonna need a small saucepan. I'm gonna melt 1 stick of butter in the saucepan. You can also melt it in a microwave if you want instead. So to the bowl, I'm gonna add about 2 cups of flour, all-purpose, then 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon salt. We are, again, using unsalted butter just because it's what we have in the test kitchen. If you are using salted butter, just be wary of the salt that you're adding in. You might want to just reduce it by a little bit. You can also taste your way there. So the rhubarb has kind of come to like a simmer. starting to bubble a little bit. And you can see that as the rhubarb cooks, the fibers start to break down and the colors also start to change. So they go from really bright red and pink to a little bit more of a duller pink. So now I'm gonna add in some whole milk to the batter. The main difference between Swedish waffles and classic American waffles is that the batter is a bit more runny in Swedish pancakes, so you have a little bit more milk, and you also use a little bit less baking powder than you would in American pancakes. Going in with 2 eggs. Both the milk and the eggs are at room temperature. And room temperature ingredients, I know I've talked about this before, but it's really important because it just helps to create a much smoother batter. Wow, I'm really multitasking here.
You got the brain firing all cylinders.
Okay, the butter is melted. I'm gonna just pour it in while whisking. And you can see it's a pretty runny batter. It's not like crazy runny, but it's definitely thicker than most American waffle batters. And now, while the rhubarb compote is still cooking, we're gonna preheat our waffle iron. So this is a waffle iron from Nordic Ware. It's really awesome. I believe it's called the Sweetheart Waffle Iron, and it's a classic Scandinavian waffle iron because it has these hearts. So I'm just preheating this over medium heat until it starts to kind of like look smoky and starts to feel hot. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with this color. It's so nice. It just makes such a difference when you're making a compote because if you have rhubarb that's a bit greener, the compote is gonna be green or like almost like a brown color. I feel like it's just gonna get like more vibrant in color as it keeps cooking. It's not totally necessary, but I really like to use a cooling rack when making waffles because as they cool, they release steam, and if they're on a flat surface, and that steam is kind of gonna get trapped underneath the waffles, and it's gonna make the waffle a little bit more soggy, so this just kind of helps to keep them a little bit more fresh. All right, let's give this a taste. It's really good. If you feel like it needs anything else, if you feel like it needs more sweetness or more acidity or salt or cardamom or anything, feel free to make any of those adjustments because my rhubarb might taste different from the one that you get. This is totally done now. All the rhubarb is broken down. We're left with a really nice and beautiful and very good smelling rhubarb compote. I'm just gonna let it cool off to the side while we make our pancakes. Waffles. So I'm gonna take any remaining little drop of butter in the saucepan, pastry brush, and I'm just gonna brush the inside of the waffle iron. You can also melt more butter if you want. I might actually have to do that. Oh, I turned it off. All right, don't make that mistake. I accidentally turned this one off instead of that one.
How many waffles are you gonna make?
I think this makes about 8 or so, depending on how much batter you put in. I'm gonna try to get 8. I have a really hard time not making a mess when I make waffles, so I'm gonna try to not get butter everywhere. Cool. Pop it down and then let it cook for about a minute or 2. We're gonna lift and then see how it is and then flip it over. This is kind of a fun waffle iron because you could bring this camping.
When was the last time you went camping?
Oh my God, so long ago. We actually used that when I went camping. We made cherry pies.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah. It's similar. I have one of those.
Really?
Yeah, I bring them whenever I camp.
It's so cute. All right, we're gonna flip. And it's gonna cook for another minute. Okay, let's see. Ooh, she's looking nice and golden. I'm gonna check the other side. All right, definitely needs a little bit more time. So I have maybe about 2 cups of washed and dried strawberries, and these are gonna go between our waffle layers and then also on top. I know that strawberry rhubarb is a classic and iconic combination, and you could add strawberries to your rhubarb compote if you wanted to, but I don't know, I kind of wanted to keep them separate. I don't know, rhubarb deserves its own little spotlight, I think. So I just cut off the very end part of the strawberries, and I'm just cutting them into like little wedges like this. Okay, we're gonna take it from this side. She's beautiful. So actually, the browning that you see on here is the Maillard reaction. Science. So the Maillard reaction is a chemical reaction of amino acids and reducing sugars, and it's what gives brown food its like distinctive brown color, and it also adds a really nice flavor, and the crispiness, the brownness, like food would not be nearly as good without the Maillard reaction.
Maillard reaction. Maillard reaction.
I'm gonna go in with some more butter. Close and flip. Okay, so I'm gonna cut the rest of my strawberries, make the rest of my waffles, and I will be back shortly. Okay, so it actually did not make 8, it made 5, but that's okay. They're 5 pretty thick waffles. If you have a normal Scandinavian waffle iron, they're gonna be a bit thinner and you'll probably end up with about 8 to 10. So I also have my cut strawberries. I also have some fresh mint leaves. Mint is amazing on cakes, especially ones that have whipped cream. So now I'm gonna go ahead and whip my cream. I love whipped cream, like so much. So I'm gonna do about a cup and a half. And this is cold whipped cream. It's really important that the whipped cream is cold when you whip it. You can also chill your bowls and your whisk if you want to take extra precautions. But the reason why you want to use cold cream is because it's stiffer and it's going to trap and hold air bubbles a lot better than if the cream were warm. The thing with these though is the whipped cream always goes everywhere. So I feel like after I whip cream with a mixer, there's always like spots of whipped cream like everywhere, especially in my kitchen. Do you guys ever hear that song on YouTube that was like, do you like waffles? Yeah, we like waffles. Do you want pancakes?
Oh my God.
I somehow get that song stuck in my head all the time.
Waffles, pancakes, French toast. What's your order?
I like crepes. Does that count? Like crepes 1.
Okay.
Crepes 1. Then maybe like French toast.
Okay.
Then a pancake. Then an American waffle. But Swedish waffles, they're going right under crepes. Tam, can you actually pop these in the fridge for like a hot sec? Thanks. It's always kind of hard to decide where exactly to stop whipping because it's really easy to keep going and go a little too hard. But this is like about where you want to be, I'd say. All right, this should be cool enough now. Dun, 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 dun. Look, carrot cake plate. Isn't that nice? Okay, we're gonna go ahead with our stacking. So I have the waffles, I have the compote, that's also cold, strawberries, and mint. I'm gonna do a little plop of cream just on the bottom just to make sure that it stays put. Go in with a little layer of whipped cream. Again, like how psyched wouldn't your mom be to wake up on Mother's Day with a waffle cake? This is also like a great recipe to get the family involved in because it's like you make the waffles, the rhubarb compote, cut some strawberries, and then obviously assembling is the most fun part, but you know. And there's plenty of rhubarb compote, so you don't really feel like you have to be careful about adding too much. Go in with some straws. And then another layer of waffle. I'm gonna try to kind of line the hearts up like that. Okay, we're gonna finish off with a little bit of confectioner's sugar. And then I just really roughly chopped up some mint leaves just to go on top. And there we have it, our Mother's Day rhubarb compote waffle cake.
Is this a Swedish
How do
thing,
you
or
cut into it?
Mm-hmm.
How do you?
I know, I don't really know.
Oh, it
All right.
is that nice.
Okay, let's see. Because it's in heart shape, so I feel like I'm gonna try to cut down the
It's
like.
like you're oiling the Mona Lisa.
Oh my god, this is so many layers. So it's rhubarb compote and strawberries and whipped cream.
I love rhubarb.
A little Mother's Day action. Oh my god, if I can get
I
in.
wish I was a mom.
So it's almost like it's a little.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wow.
That
Yeah.
cut perfectly.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. All right.
That looks great.
Do we flip it on the side or, right?
I think you're gonna have to.
I think so. I honestly, I might just like,
Pick one piece up.
yeah, I might just like grab a piece.
That's a good idea. Oh my god.
I've never made a waffle cake, but Swedish waffles are often like, I mean, these are kind of thick, but they come in these like heart shapes, and it's really popular to make pancake cake. So I was thinking, like, why not just make a waffle cake instead?
I love that because I'm a waffle over pancake girl.
Really?
Me too.
Really? Oh my
Waffle.
God, I feel like I'm
Waffle.
like a pancake girl.
Really?
Yeah. But like crepes
I like
though.
a crispy waffle. The compote,
It's
is that what it is? It's so
It's not
good.
too sweet.
Thanks. All right, thank you for watching. You can find this recipe on food52.com. If you're looking for a Mother's Day, you can find this on food52.com. What just happened? Do I have waffle in my ponytail? Thank you so much for watching. If you're looking for a Mother's Day recipe that's easy to make, can involve a lot of different people and doesn't require that much time, head to food52.com for the recipe. And here you can even see all the beautiful layers. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.